On this episode of Second Act, I help a struggling comedian shoot for the big time, Jeff Hyson.
Thank you.
I'm 54. This is the time.
Jeff's spent most of his life in a lackluster desk job. Now the kids have left, it's his turn to see if he can light the stage.
This is something he actually truly enjoys.
Boo! There is nothing harder in the world than being a comedian.
Our ace team will help Jeff polish his act,
I thought you want to be a comedian.
but it's up to him to face his fears
Will you shut the f*** up?
and get his wife's permission. I'm Paulie DeMeo. Across the country, people are planning their second act, reinventing themselves to follow their passions and find their purpose. They're risking it all, and we're here to help. Jeff Hyson's lifelong dream is to be a star of stand-up comedy. Then there's what's real. "5:30 a.m., suit up. 6 a.m., coffee. 6:15, out the door. By 7 a.m., he's at work in downtown D.C., the same routine for 25 years.
I am a attorney with the United States government. Like any job, it has its moments, some good, some bad, but mostly I like it.
Jeff dabbled with comedy in his 20s.
Is this something you've always wanted to do?
I've always loved comedy. In 1987, I did my first show, and I did one or two after that, but that was it. Life intervened.
Now it's different. The kids have left home, so Jeff finally has time for himself. Also, he's just a year away from retirement age. Comedy may be his one hope to stay relevant and find new income.
What's at stake is that I see a possible post-retirement career. I didn't expect that when I first took the stage. But the more I do this, the more I see the possibilities. It takes 35 years to become a great comic. I'm 54. I don't have 35 years. This is the time. But my biggest fear is not being able to do it again.
So Jeff's been trying to reignite this long smothered passion. After hours, he shuns the suit and tie and gives it his best shot. Counsel by day, hopeful comic by night.
And the saleswoman asked, "What size is she?" And I said, "I don't know, this big?" And the saleswoman said, "Sir, you didn't have to touch me."
5 minutes on stage beats 9 hours at work. And I always love being on stage.
But there's a problem. Jeff has all the determination, but not yet the skill. His wife Susan is skeptical. Can her lawyerly husband shake his buttoned-up ways?
My concerns about him getting into comedy is that he will be disappointed in how he does, that he won't get the response he wants, that people be mean to him. I think it's important that he tries it. So it's better to try it and fail at something than not to try it at all.
Jeff just copped a painful reminder of how tough it is with a drunk at this very bar in Fairfax, Virginia. Ouch.
Now, one of the things, Paul, that I pride myself on is not cursing from the stage.
Gotcha.
I don't do it. But on this night, he interrupts me. I just go, "Will you shut the f*** up?"
Right. Now, did you get some applause from the people out here?
No, that would have been a good thing.
Gotcha.
I felt humiliated after cursing, but it was a frustrating night. It made me wonder why I left my wife at home on a Saturday, why I even entered into it.
What is it deep down in Jeff's soul that makes you want to do this? There is nothing harder in the world. I don't know if there's anything harder than being a comedian.
That's the challenge, and that's why I do it. I'm getting them to laugh at things that I invented That makes me feel great. That's why I'm doing this.
For years, Jeff's had a dream to perform at a top club in New York City. Now, we've managed to get him an opening at the prestigious Gotham Comedy Club.
Be a dream come true.
How about that?
That would be unbelievable.
Then that's what we should do.
We don't have much time to get him ready. The gig's in just 2 weeks. One other hurdle, Jeff will have to win over his toughest critic.
My wife didn't want to be embarrassed.
Some of the jokes he tells are a little personal. If I'm sitting in the audience, he starts making fun of me, that's okay. I mean, I think people know that a comic embellishes, that that's not the way you really are.
She agrees. Now's the time.
You have to be supportive of your partner and realize that just because you're married and you're a couple and you've been married for god-awful amount of years or whatever, it doesn't mean you have to be joined at the hip and do everything together.
For Jeff, it's about his very sense of self-worth. As a first step, I want to see how he does with an open mic. It's comedy night at Fire Station 1 Bar and Restaurant in Silver Spring, Maryland. Jeff is by far the oldest comedian here.
We got Monday Night Football, Redskins. It's going to be a little louder. So as a comic, make sure you're louder. As an audience member, make sure you're, extra attentive. We want this to go well. We want it to be a good night for everyone. And thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Some of the young blood is on fire.
Electronic cigarette. It's for badasses of the future.
If you're on a crowded elevator and I'm about to walk on, don't look at the maximum capacity.
Now it's Jeff's turn.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you all don't mind, please put your hands together. Let's start this energy going. Let's get some clapping going for my man. About to come to the microphone. Mr. Jeffrey Hyson, Jeff Hyson, come on.
Yes, we've been married for a while. 27 years. Talk about a life sentence. We've been married for so long that people ask me for marriage advice. Now, guys, you know the 3 words you're supposed to say to your wife.
Suddenly, Jeff is distracted by a bar crowd focused on football.
But they don't tell you the 5 words you're not supposed to say. Don't you have it already?
Jeff's so set in his routine, it's hard for him to recover.
The one that all guys would have, and it's not about computers. They really like the joke.
Raising Jeff to a New York standard? This may be my toughest assignment yet. Jeff Hyson is dying in front of a distracted crowd. He needs to pull it together, and fast.
I hadn't thought about it that way. So I bought her 7 pocketbooks. It was a tough venue tonight, and people usually aren't singing football fight songs while I'm telling jokes.
Gotcha. We need to work on Jeff's delivery and style, so I send him back to the fire station, this time to meet comedy coach Chris Kachia. Chris has studied tape of Jeff's recent shows.
I would like to see you more relaxed on stage. You have good material. There's solid stuff.
I think my material is written better than I perform it. And I want to get better performing it.
And he's very diligent. You can tell from watching him that he writes material. He perfects it, and he knows the structure. He knows the rules of comedy. But he needs to let more of himself come through.
Fortune cookies don't tell you anything about your future. The name is a lie. It gives me life advice. I don't need that. They give you lucky numbers, as if the guy that wrote it knows how to win the lottery, but is going to tell you instead. That's the bit.
So, okay, my first thought would be put yourself into the situation. So, we're out for Chinese food. Now, here's where you can create that scene. Let us go into your head. And if I imagine a guy with a tiny typewriter. I figured out all the fortunes. I could win millions. But you know what? Jeff from Silver Spring deserves this more than I do. You know what I'm saying? So it's now you're in that scene, you're creating it. You bring people in, and now they're in, and now you've done the hard work. You've created this scenario, this image in people's heads.
As if the guy that wrote it knows how to win the lottery, but he's going to tell me. He's sitting there in the basement of the fortune cookie factory. He has no air conditioning, less than minimum wage, but he knows, but I'm going to tell Jeff instead.
He's set in his ways, kind of throw stuff away and just give himself a fresh start. you're relaxing, and I'm seeing like we just did the fortune cookie bit, and I saw when you were coming off script, it was much more natural. It was much more Jeff coming through. You and me, and we're having a conversation. Right. And I feel like when you're going into your bits, you're snapping into I am a comedian mode, and I want to see if we can get away from that. And so sometimes it's just a matter of reassuring somebody that, hey, what you're doing is really funny. It's really solid material. Now enjoy it.
If Jeff is to make comedy a career, I think he needs more. He needs some tough love from comedy writer Eric Kornfeld.
I'm Eric Kornfeld. I'm a writer. I write for the theater. I write for live performances for a lot of well-known people, and on television, of course.
Anybody here celebrating a birthday? Okay. How about the past year?
Now, that joke is fine. An opening joke should be three things. It should be fast, it should be funny, and it should tell me something about you. Now, this joke is fast. It's okay. It's not hilarious. It got applause, but it doesn't get laughs. Laughs are really better. He needs better jokes. You would call them soft jokes. They don't land hard. He doesn't have a lot of big laughs.
And Jeff's biggest hurdle, the elephant in the room, his age.
And I think right up front, you really sort of need to make it known that you know what you look like. You might even make fun of yourself a little bit up front. Most comics do, but that would get a laugh, because it's funny.
Okay.
And it would sound funny coming from you in that way you speak.
As Eric works with Jeff, he realizes Jeff seems to have no idea how he looks to the youthful crowds of comedy clubs.
What comics do is they exaggerate who they are. They exaggerate themselves, but exaggeration is one of the things he's not doing now. He needs to develop the character that he is. I don't know that Jeff sees himself the way we see him when we watch him, and he needs to so that he can kind of make fun of it for the audience about himself. That tells the audience that he's in on the joke.
Even Jeff's language needs a dramatic update if he's to relate to his audience.
I said to my wife, I only have one wallet. I don't see why you need to have more than one pocketbook. And she said,
really, Jeff? Pocketbook, the word pocketbook hasn't been used since 1950. You have to mention that no one has said pocketbook since the birth of Christ. Really.
Jeff's struggling, but Eric sees one thing that could swing the crowd in Jeff's favor. I'm Paulie DeMeo. People across the country are reinventing themselves and following their dreams, and we're here to help. Jeff Hyson is desperate to be a successful stand-up comic, and he has a make-or-break show in less than 2 weeks.
He's competing with kids who are in their 20s, and they're not lawyers during the day. This is all they want to do.
Comic coach Eric Kornfeld has a plan. Eric wants Jeff to have fun with exactly who he is and highlight jokes that play on being older.
We become distinguished. Yeah, I know how a girl in her 20s distinguishes me from other guys. She looks
at me and thinks, he's my Dalton.
That's an okay joke, but the punchline wasn't a knee slapper. It would be funnier to say something like, yeah, because to a 20-year-old girl, she distinguishes me from somebody she would have sex with. So try to stay away from that or make fun of it.
To relate to a young crowd, you need to dress like the young crowd. Jeff also needs a makeover.
I get confused about what to wear on stage. My first thought was to wear a jacket and tie like Jerry Seinfeld. That seemed to be too much. So now I usually just wear a sports shirt and jeans, and I'm still overdressed.
I take Jeff to local boutique Everett Hall. Jeff must loosen up his style if this is to work.
This is what I normally wear on stage, but I feel overdressed.
But if you're coming on as kind of a nerdy guy,
right,
we got that look. I mean,
Okay.
we're good.
Success.
We've really succeeded in finding that look. Do you usually wear a belt? I'm just curious.
No.
You never wear a belt?
No.
Even with the jeans?
No.
And do you always tuck the shirt in? What if you
Yes.
just take this shirt and untuck it?
That's crazy. You're talking.
Oh, let's go crazy then. Let's go a little crazy. Let's untuck that shirt. And what's the T-shirt on? Do you have your pits sweat? Do you sweat a lot?
No.
What's the white T-shirt for underneath?
It's always been there.
So what if we unbutton that button right now? That's a little better. Pull the shirt out.
All right.
Don't you feel a little bit more comfortable? Kind of shake that out a little bit. You know what I mean?
All right.
Are we shaking it out?
This is what you're gonna get.
Let's shake it out a little bit.
All right.
There we go. That's a little bit better.
For 25 years, Jeff has been a white-collar guy. For comedy, I need to give him a dressing down.
How about a little bit of a... Would you call that fuchsia, sir? I'm colorblind, so I'm pretty bad.
Anything I can help you with?
Yeah, we're trying to dress Jeff here. Jeff is a comedian, and we want to dress him a little bit more current, a little bit less nerdy.
Okay.
A little more youthful.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm Everett Hall. I'm a fashion designer, and I designed the collection at the Everett Hall Boutique. Lawyers are our #1 clientele that we have coming into the boutique. We can teach them how to look cool. At some point, they will have to open their mouth. They'll have to do the rest.
Sounds good, Everett.
Let's do this.
That's all right.
I don't think it's going to be difficult to work with Jeff. If he listens and takes our advice, it should be fine.
I've never worn a bow tie in my life.
You like it, we don't want it. Now, can you try this one? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's funny. I thought you want to be a comedian. That's a good looking shirt. That maybe a little bit, is that okay?
I think that's better.
Yeah, I think that's better. Hands out of your pockets. Turn around, keep your hands in your pockets. And look at yourself.
That's a handsome man right there.
What? Who would know? I mean, you know, it's
look
a
at my hands. I'm
handsome.
looking at this shirt.
What's the possibility of sewing his pockets shut?
That's easy.
Wow. And what's wrong? Take a look. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Hyson.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Boo! Boo! No jacket! Boo! Unbutton the top button.
I will. What do you think?
Button this top.
There we go.
How's that for you?
Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, from our nation's capital, Jeff Hyson.
Oh, it's so good to be here at the Everett Hall Boutique. Of all the men's clothing stores and boutiques in the DC area, the Everett Hall Boutique has the finest clothes and the best comedy audiences. So thank you.
And he looks good too, huh?
Sure does.
Talking about. Very nice, man. You look terrific.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Your credit card? Seriously.
Hey everyone, Paul DeMeo here. Now there's no question that making big changes later in life may cause some financial risk. It doesn't mean we have to give up our dreams. Our buddy Jeff, he planned ahead, so he's in great financial shape to follow his bliss. But that doesn't mean his financial work is over. It's important that Jeff, 1, audit his portfolio annually by actively monitoring the ups and downs of the market on his own or with the help of a financial professional. 2, put in place a solid strategy for withdrawing money. 3, make sure his portfolio is positioned to generate income. And finally, have a spending reserve that provides cash if necessary. Stock and bond markets can be volatile, so having a spending reserve is an important safety net. With just a few financial checkups, Jeff can put his energy to what really matters to him, making people laugh. Second act will be right back. Jeff's big night at Gotham Comedy Club in New York City is now only a few days away. Mixed with his practice, some publicity shots.
So we're taking your first headshots today.
Yes.
What they see in this picture is going to tell them something about you. Be as comfortable and relaxed as you can. Nice, that looks great.
Even here, Jeff has trouble being at ease.
Wait, where the knees are...
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
I don't know if that was stupid.
What?
That way I pointed.
If you feel natural and relaxed and comfortable, you're going to look that way. If you don't, you won't.
I'm sitting outside in a $200 shirt with 2 cameras plus a professional photographer. It's 40 degrees. I don't have a coat on. It doesn't feel natural.
But finally, the lawyer lets his guard down.
You're on, baby. Let's go crazy. Good. Mix it up.
I'm king of the world.
There you go. Got a lot of great stuff in here. You got a lot to choose from.
Can Jeff translate this natural feel to stage? Time for the ultimate test. New York, New York. Very excited. Look, Jerry Seinfeld.
Right, Louis Black, Robert Klein.
Got Chris and Eric here, which is really good.
Great. They gave me such good advice. I'm looking forward to seeing them again.
Jeff, how are you?
So Eric, Chris, I mean, this is the culmination of a lot of practicing that you guys have had with him, right?
When he first came to us, I think he had a more, I wouldn't call it stock necessarily.
It was, I know what funny is, and then it was Jeff, and we just had to kind of push them together. Right. Forget that it's New York City, because it doesn't matter. It's an audience. That's what it is.
Well, I live here, and I think they're really judgmental, and don't Don't this up. You are so finished, my friend.
Knifed outside.
Not just will you be nice, you won't be funny in Philly anymore. Washington, Boston, any of the places he named. You're not
if
funny
I can't
here.
make it here.
That's right.
Thank you, guys.
Go get him, buddy.
Wait a minute. Thank you, Paul.
No problem.
Give it up for Jeff Heisen, everybody. Clap for Jeff.
Christmas has come and gone, which meant the passing of another holiday tradition. I had to figure out where to have Chinese food. They try to teach you the Chinese language, but the words they give you aren't helpful. Cactus, head lice, and hockey puck. What am I going to do with that information? That one must have come from Canada. I got in an elevator recently, and a guy gets in and starts talking politics. That's a breach of elevator etiquette. So I pressed all the buttons and told him about my colonoscopy. It's tough for a guy to get older. Women look at us differently. We become distinguished. I know how a girl in her 20s distinguishes me from other guys. She's distinguishing me from someone she'd have sex with. Thank you for that. My wife said, I need a new purse. I only have one wallet. I don't see why you need to have more than one purse. And she said, I don't see why we need to have sex more than once a week. So I bought her 7 purses. Thank you all so much. My name is Jeff Heisen.
Good job, Jeff.
Thank you.
Jeff Heisen, everybody. Give him a hand. There he goes.
That was great. I loved it. The crowd loved it.
Everybody's clapping.
Everybody's clapping. Oh, he killed it. He was great.
So excited. Am I in trouble?
Very nice,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. And Paul, thank you for setting up this opportunity for me. It's been a terrific experience.
Jeff, certainly my pleasure. I'm glad these guys were able to really take you on a journey that showed you that you could do it, man. That you could get up and entertain people.
I'm not stopping. One thing that I said to you early, it's never too late to start something new.
If you're thinking of performing your second act, remember, prepare ahead of time while you still have a day job. Make your age and experience work for you. And look for mentors who can help you avoid novice mistakes. Who knows? You may laugh all the way to the bank.